Hello, we are the Rabbit Unicorns and this is the first of many Skyforge video guides that we are making. I am your host Kyla Jackram and my co-host today is Avery Darling.
Hello, in this guide video, our very official guide video, we're going to go over the first raid you can unlock, which is Operation Isabella Attack. This is the full version. Unlike Scout, Attack has more advanced mechanics.
Coming up to the first boss, we're just going to smash through this trash, group them up together and AoE them down.
Windchaser is our first boss. He's a big flying stingray, like the one who killed Steve Irwin, my personally favorite Australian. He does a lot of poison attacks that stay on the ground, so you're going to need to watch your feet. He does a poison throw that targets a player, has a knockdown on hit, and leaves a poison AoE on the ground, which stays in the arena for the duration of the battle. This doesn't do a lot of damage initially, but if you find yourself standing in it for too long, it can kill you. He will also do a Flabby Wing attack where he faces a direction and does a cone attack which will knock you back 4 times. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it can knock you into his poisonous puddles. Also, all his basic attacks do cleave, so the tank needs to face him away from the group.
Okay, so the first mechanic we show you clearly here is Winged Flap, which you can see knocking the tank Avery back. Then we swap to Demon's perspective, who is behind the boss, and you see he's not being knocked back at all, until the next one. Now as we swap back to Avery, we can see the poison pool starting to grow on the ground. This is all the mechanics of this fight, so I'm going to speed the rest of the fight up and move on with the raid. I just figure, most people aren't going to want to watch us do the same mechanics over and over and over. However, with this trash there is something. Avery?
On a lot of these mobs, there are turrets that will spawn. The tank needs to face the turret away from the group, and DPS needs to focus them down.
You can also see in our video that Avery didn't follow her own advice because she doesn't pick the turret up. Anyway, we move on, we clear more of this trash, we're killing tanks and turrets, all at an impressive speed. I'd actually quite like it if we could play the game at this speed, but I don't think my reactions would be fast enough. My voice is having trouble trying to keep up, but I'm gonna slow down. We've got another boss coming up. Now we're coming up to our second boss, Titan Sentry Orion, the guy who likes to punch people, because that's what all his abilities are based around. His first ability to look out for is Laser Lift. He targets a random player, picks them up into the air for 5 seconds, pulls them in, and punches them to the ground. This does AoE damage around the target when he pulls them in, and the target needs to be shielded or they will get one shot. During the fight he will also target a random raid member and do his fist punch on them, where he runs up, uppercuts you and tries to knock you out of the arena. If he doesn't knock you out, it still does a lot of damage. Lastly, the 4 cannon spawn areas in this fight do spawn cannons. He will walk over at 30, 20, 10 and 5 health bars to spawn a cannon at one of them.
Now, as Kyler was talking, you should have been able to see him spawn his first cannon at 30 health bars. Then Demon gets picked up and pulled in. As these are the only mechanics you can interact with, we'll now speed up the fight and move on again.
Also, since this is our first video, I'd love it if people would put into the comments whether you'd prefer to keep the fights sped up as they are, or if you'd want me to cut parts of the fight out once we've covered all the mechanics for that boss or those sets of trash. Really like feedback. Feedback is useful. I'd like to know what you want me to do. Coming up to this pull after the boss, you just want to follow the tank down, let the tank grab aggro on all groups and then AoE them down at the end. Most times your tank will be fine with a few shields, but as I was the support here, I didn't shield our tank, so Avery dies. Poor Avery.
Yeah, thanks.
So yeah, places like this, would you want it cut out, or do you like knowing that people have to run back, as you'll see Avery do in a moment?
Our next boss here is the Energy Golem Lightning. He's a big robot dude like the last one, but with lightning. He has a few different mechanics you'll need to pay attention to, or you and your group will suffer greatly. He will target a random player and create an AoE circle around them. This hurts. Everyone needs to spread out to mitigate the damage taken. He will also do Thunderdome. Our robot enemy makes a huge honeycomb-looking shield around himself. Everyone needs to get into his shield. If not, you'll be attacked by lightning and it does a lot of damage. Right after the shield goes down, you're going to want to spread out again to prepare for Electro. This fight is basically like listening to the hokey pokey. You go in, you go out, you go in, you go out, over and over. When he's got 2 health bars left, he will summon a ton of ads. He needs to be killed fast at this point, or your group will be overwhelmed.
As you can see, his demon dashes out and then back in. There's the Thunderdome to get inside of. After it finishes, you want to get back out again. This is the entire fight. One suggested thing to finish a fight off is a Witch Curse at 2.5 health bars, just to avoid those ads. We don't actually use a Witch Curse, we just burn him down with damage buffs, then move on, jump across, collect trash, try and dodge that guy but someone always pulls him, get more trash. At the top of this hill though, you actually get to meet your Master Cryomancers and Templar Warriors together. That's what you're going to be looking out for. In the final boss fight, you'll get those guys again. I'd just like to take a moment to apologise for the occasional wind tunnels that you'll be hearing from me. It is very warm here in Oz. We're just slowing the video down a little bit here on this trash pool. As you can see, when this tank gets low, 2 turrets spawn. You want the DPS to get straight on these turrets and kill them off. And now we're coming down to our last boss of the raid, Storm Pegasus Firewing. This boss has 2 main phases, with a middle phase where he just kind of floats off in the air and annoys you. During phase 1, he will be doing a charge in a direction based on a random targeted player, and you just want to dodge sideways out of that. He will also launch a crap load of rockets out of his back. This is his barrage. These rockets target all players who are alive or dead in the raid and will land randomly within 5 meters of that player's position when they come out. So you want to move away from the boss and try and move away from other players as well. Once you get him down to 20 health bars, he goes up into the air for the duration of 4 barrages. While he goes into the air, you get 2 groups of ads that spawn. Each group of ads consists of 1 Master Cryomancer and 2 Templar Warriors. You want your tank to group these ads up and AoE them down while avoiding those 4 barrages that come out at you. After he finishes those barrages, whether you've finished the ads off or not, the boss comes back down, returning to the 2 abilities he had in phase 1, but now he has a 3rd ability, Fire Feet, or as Lone Wolf, for those who have followed him on the stream would know, Happy Feet. This ability has to be line of sighted. He will create fire at his feet, which will explode after roughly 5 seconds and will one-shot you if you are not out of line of sight.
Now you can see him moving into his air phase, and I run over to group up the ads.
I've just sped the video up again here because it's a fairly long fight as we're killing off these ads during the 4 barrages. As you can see when we swap to Demon's perspective, however, during the last barrage he doesn't dodge, and this is what happens to you if you don't dodge the barrage. And of course, after not dodging that barrage, we res him. He runs over, hides behind the pillar really well for Fire Feet, but then peeks out around the corner to look at the boss and get killed again. As anyone playing should know by now, you can only get resed once per raid, and each person can only res 1 person per raid.
This is the Happy Feet animation from my perspective as the tank, and as an intelligent human being, I go hide behind this pillar.
Alright, I'm going to speed the video up now to finish off the raid. This has been Kylar Jackram for the Rabid Unicorns with my co-host Avery Darling. Thank you very much for joining us.
This is our first video, and we've got a lot more to come. We want to cover all of Skyforge for you guys. Like if you like it, comment if you got something to say, tell us you love us, or tell us you love us. Lie to me, I can't handle the truth. Subscribe to keep up. We're going to be pumping these out as fast as humanly possible. If you want more, we're streaming Skyforge plus other games on Twitch daily. Come check us out on twitch.tv/rabidunicorns.
Chunk it out and watch my stream.
Watch my chunks.
And that's it. Thanks for joining us at the end, Lone. Your contribution and chunks are appreciated.
Kylar, it's like 2 a.m. I know it's morning in Australia, but it's late. I want to go to sleep.
Go to bed, Avery. Good night.
Thank you.